This is the Halftime Oranges podcast, brought to you by Keegs and Dicky. Welcome to this week's episode of the Halftime Oranges podcast. Today we've got a young prop out of the Manawatū Turbos. He's a product of Manawatū College. He played for the NZ Barbarians under-18 side. He's played for the NZ under-20s during their COVID year. And yes, as a member of the Turbos, the Manawatū Turbos. Joseph Gavigan, how's it going, buddy?
Oh, yeah, just happy to be here, lads. I'll have to correct you on Manawatū College, bro. It's just Manawatū. Just remember
Sorry
that.
about that. My apologies.
Hey, that's no dramas, though. That's no dramas whatsoever. No, yeah, I'm excited. Let's crack into it.
Pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Let's get straight down to it, Joey. Your nickname is. Have you got a nickname in the Turbos? Has anyone called you Lenny before?
No, you haven't heard of...
Off Shark Tale.
Oh,
you look a lot like Lenny off Shark Tale, because I think that could really stick.
Well, that's
what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, so that's actually been brought up before, quite recently, actually. So every
I'm struggling to see why.
You're struggling to see why.
Yeah, could you any insight on why anyone might call you Lenny?
Or if I say, like, I've got a bit of a sharp nose potentially. That sort of, big white head, like a great white shark.
Yes, yeah, I said it.
How have you come about that?
Yeah, how'd you find that out?
What's that? Sorry,
how'd you find that out?
No, I was just looking at him the other day on Google, and I thought, man, that's a hell of a nickname if that was ever going to be thrown about. Just, you do look like Lenny off Shark Tale. There's no doubt about it.
So that came off the top of your head. You had no idea.
Yes, it has come off the top of my head.
Because that was brought up last week. We have every Monday at the Turbos, we get together and have a little pahi mana or energy bus at Jacko's in Palmy, and I'm part of this like social committee, so we put up memes and stuff, and that was like celebrity lookalikes for the week was me and Lenny from Shark Tale. So coincidentally, you've brought that up.
Yeah, wow. I just thought I had it was the elephants in the room.
Speaking of elephants in the room, let's just backtrack a little bit. I seem to remember your inaugural episode of this beautiful podcast, you just ripping me out.
Sorry, you're talking to me?
I'm going straight at you, man.
And can you bring up what's hurt your feelings in what I've said there? Obviously, I'm quite an opinionated bloke, and I don't apologise for anything I've said.
I've got the podcast here. Joey sent me the timestamps. I thought I might just play it.
So he's kept his receipts. Yeah, let's get it out there.
Those two hate each other, and he just fires up, just starts throwing it. I tell you what, I think he told me the other day. We have to get Joey on and confirm. I think he told me the other day that he reckons he's been on a bit of biff every game this year. He's got a lot of haters out there at the moment. I don't know why. He's a nice guy. I love Joey, but I'll probably put it down. Is he still wearing that headgear? 100% he is.
That's about all I got, I think.
Yeah, there was
that headgear is horrific.
Well, I mean,
what brand is that? What brand do you wear?
It's N-Pro. It's one of the best headgears around. Like, I've had a few little concussions over the years, or some bigger than others, and it's like most of the. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but most of the headgears don't really do too much. But this N-Pro stuff, it's like a medical device, so it sort of limits a lot of the symptoms of, just limits impacts really. So that's why I wear it.
That's fair enough. You've obviously got to put your health first, but looks-wise, as I've said, it does look horrific. There's no doubt about that. So you can't get around that.
It's
but 100%. Put your noggin first. Obviously, you've probably got limited brain cells as it is, so you wouldn't want to lose any more. So keep rolling with it, Joe.
Yeah,
keep rolling with it.
Do what you say, eh?
Was there anything else, Joe?
Yeah, there was a little comment in there as well. I believe it was along the lines of when he squats, he just stares at himself in the mirror and thinks about how much he hates Reece Peterson.
Sorry, that was in there.
I just want to put it out there to anyone who's listening. I've got no hate for anyone, and like Pedo and I got into it in a game a couple of years ago, and from there it's just snowballed a bit outside of that game. So yeah, like I've definitely got nothing against him. I think he's a great bloke. So if people could stop stirring the pot about that, that'd be good. Especially you. I'm looking at you, Dickie.
How did that start? How did that run-in start with Reece Peterson? For those listening, Reece Peterson's an ex-Turbo. He is ginger, and he is quite a fiery bloke. He's a great bloke as well, actually. He's changed the tune, obviously. And you guys have had a run-in in the club competition in Palms North. Talk us through the original one, because I was there for another one that happened when I was actually playing. You guys had a few words with each other, but talk me through it, Joe. Talk us through this beef that doesn't exist with a former Turbo. You being a Turbo,
well, I'll put it out there. You two are from Old Boys Marist, but like, I feel as if you guys must be the most hated team in the comp. Like, Meatball Gordon was telling me you guys have got, or you used to, I don't know if you still do, this is all from Meatball. He said, you guys have got a call, Grubs on 3. Is that you aware of that? That's what he's...
No, I was never aware of that.
Yeah, I was told that. Anyway, the story goes is that, like, I just suppose it's like, you know, he obviously bleeds for his club. I bleed for mine. Playing for Freiburg, it's a tough gig. I got my blazer this year. 35 games and I've won 2 of them. So, you know, any game that just turns into a bit of an arm wrestle or we get a little sniff, you know, I just try and get stuck in. And when you've got 2 guys who are just in the thick of it, as Reece Peterson is, Pedo, there are bound to be clashes.
So you're on nickname basis, hey? You're on nickname basis now, hey?
Well, no, actually, I don't know. That's the thing. So, might have overstepped there, but when I started first training with the Turbos, I was still at school, and that's what everyone called them, so I'm just going with them. But yeah, like, we got stuck in the game, and a few words were exchanged. I don't hold any grudges whatsoever, and I saw him after we played this year at our home ground. He had a little yarn to him, so we've broken bread.
What did you talk about?
I think he went off because he hurt his hammy. He pulled a hammy or something. So I just asked him.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. How his body was, and
calling him a bit weak. Were you?
Well, you just sort of putting words in my mouth there. So maybe I should be directing my grudging towards you.
Yeah, it's just a story. I thought that all started because you sort of he had a misdemeanor with some supplements, and you've brought that up on the field. Any truth to that, Joe?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good call. It's a good call. Yeah, I like that. But Joey, obviously, you've now got your blazer for the Turbos, 20 games, I believe, off the top of my head. And so you're a local product of the Manawatū region, up the Watu. And can you just talk a little bit about, give us a bit of insight on, did you grow up in Paetua and where you went to school, and how this infamous Chibro career has begun and started from the grassroots of the outskirts of the Watu?
Yeah, so grew up, born and raised in Pahiatua, 40 minutes out of Palmy. There's not much going on over there. Well, recently it's got a bit sort of hot, so to speak. You know, there's a few dodgy characters over there now. One of my mates recently got stabbed, actually, and but we're not going to get into that. That's his story to tell, so I'm not going to bring any of that up. But yeah, no, growing up, it was a great place to grow up. I went to Tararua College in year 9, little country school. I actually played for their first 15 in year 8. I wasn't at the school, but it was like the local club, Bush, who I played all my junior rugby for. They didn't have an under-13s team, and it was sort of, we'll go down a grade or go to college and play. So I went to the college and played, and ended up turning out for their first 15 in year 8 for a game against St. Peter's College in Palmerston North for the Viking Shield. So yeah, went there in year 9. Sort of started getting into a little bit of mischief, and played for Manukura while I was still at school at Tararua College, because the principal of Manukura, he was my rep coach from the year before, and then just sort of progressed, spent my last 4 years of high school at Manukura, and got signed out of school for 3 years, for Manawatū. So pretty lucky, really, because you know that doesn't happen every day, and I don't know if I'm that good to be thrown 3 years at, but I'll take it in my stride and make the most of my opportunities. So yeah.
Yeah, but you would have put a bit of hard work in, I'm sure, to earn that contract. It's not just thrown around there, Joey. Don't do yourself a discredit. But interesting. So, is it quite a rural? Is that school you're talking about? Sorry, what was it?
Manukura.
What was it? Manukura. Sorry,
yeah.
Manukura. Is that in
No. So that's over in Palmy. It's
it's in the mainland.
It's in the mainland. It's when I was here, it was about 200 kids, and it was a Māori sort of based learning approach / sports school. So we'd sort of train maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, all together, have brekkie together. Yeah,
whole school.
Just doing various various stuff.
Cool.
Like there could be a group going for a cross country run, or some people might be doing intervals out on the field or at the gym, or everyone's in different spots, and then everyone comes together and has brekkie, do 2 hours of study, lunch, no lunch break, which kind of always annoyed me a little bit.
Interesting.
And then back into study, and then train in the afternoon for your teams. So yeah, that was good. I think I played about 60 games for the first 15 there, and we had a really good last year. Like when I was here 13, we gave fielding a real run for their money in the co-ed cup, and beat a few good schools like Lindisfarne and Wellington College. Sort of started getting a few good games, played St. Pat's Town, but then I'm not sure what's happening there now. I think the rugby's regressed a little bit. So yeah, no, it was a great time when I was there.
So there's only 200 people at the whole school, but you put out a competitive first 15 in your later years, where it was like half your team year 9.
Nah, we had some. So with Manukura, the interesting thing was we had a lot of people from a lot of different places. sort of in Māoridom, it's certainly like very well connected. You just sort of you could go anywhere. Like I'm grateful to say, like if I shoot up to Gizzy or go pretty much anywhere in the country, I'd have someone I could stay with now, and it's just sort of connected like that, eh? So we had kids from the East Coast up Tokomaru Bay, or kids from Wellington, Auckland, everywhere, eh? They just come to school, and we didn't have a boarding house, but we'd kids would sort of stay with families around the place and pay rent, and yeah, that's sort of how it rolled.
What did you do, Joe? It's because you obviously lived in Pahitua.
Yeah, so I sort of toed and froed. My old man used to drive me over in the mornings, or I had an uncle who he lives in Palmy, so he was a big help. I'd stay with him a couple nights a week, and he just cooked mean feeds, and it was pretty awesome. Feeds were
Happy
good.
days.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's quite a cool wee school then, is it? So obviously you said you'd have probably anywhere in New Zealand you could go, you'd have accommodation.
Yeah, potentially not in Invercargill.
So like, I was going to say like if you went to Dargaville.
Dargaville up north. Yeah. I've actually got a mate. He was from up there, Preston Walters. So shout out to Preston if you're listening.
Oh yeah, Preston. What about like Hokitika? Anyone down there?
Oh jeez, not off the top of my head. But if you said Hokianga,
Tiana.
No, not so much the South Island.
Oh, it's quite.
But there were a few kids from the South Island.
Yeah.
My Māori teacher, he went to Shirley Boys, so I think the year after
Shirley up the Shirley.
The year after I left, they took a touring team down to St Andrews and beat them. Stack first 15.
Yeah, it's not wow. No,
yeah, so it was
a weak gutted dogs at that school. So,
but you're not a fan.
I'm sure you guys from the north, you would have not at all. Joseph.
Okay, well.
I'm sure you boys would have ruffled that school would have ruffled a few feathers going down to down south there, and I'm sure they would have intimidated them. You guys would have done a haka, eh? You would have had a good haka.
Yeah, so we never did the haka before the game, but afterwards it was all go. So it was more like a sign of respect after the game, saying thanks for the game, challenge you'd lay down.
That's what they do in Rotorua as well. They do the hakas in the club rooms. I played a predominant role last year in the haka. Middle back row. Really into my work there. That's quite right. And then, okay, and then you've signed. You're in the academy while you're at school for the Turbos.
Yeah. So I did 1 year of academy and then 2 years full contract. So first year of academy was it was good. It was a big learning curve on how the world sort of works, and had a few clashes with the trainers because I was pretty keen on doing what I wanted to do, and obviously that's not always what you can do. People have got expectations.
Are you referring to like gym program kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I was pretty I sort of thought, I know what I'm doing. Bugger off to the trainers and let me have at it, but it doesn't really work like that. I've got better at it now.
That wasn't Henry, was it? Back then?
No, I wasn't too keen on. I sort of knew with Henry, if you pushed him, he'd snap back at you. So I just sort of quietly went about doing my own thing and tried to fly under the radar a bit.
Yeah. It's obviously quite hard to do, flying under the radar with your noggin. It's pretty hard to not miss you. But you do love the gym. Would you agree with that statement that you quite like to throw a bit of, shall we say, tin about?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
I've never actually said, "Oh, yeah, I'll throw some tin about." But no, I started training really early. I sort of was in my hometown. I started when I was about 11ish. My old man, he was really into his training. He did a bit of bodybuilding in his day. He was pretty good at it, and a lot of the kids was sort of like, there were a few older boys who went to the Pahiatua recreational gym, or the Pahiatua gym, and they sort of,
What's it like? What's it like in that gym?
it's good.
Talk us through the sort of setup at the local Paihia
No, it's
Tour
tidy.
gym.
It's real tidy, actually. I did a lot of my training there. But yeah, there were these sort of 16-year-olds and who, I was year 9, they were sort of year 12, 11 at Tararua College. And I'd go in with my old man and train, and I was actually, I love a squat, a set of squats, and I was squatting at that age maybe 100, 120 kgs at the age of 12.
It's more than what Dickie squats now.
Yeah, they didn't like it, eh? And I remember vividly these kids. I got added to this Facebook group, and all these kids were just laying into my dad and laying into me, saying like, and they didn't know I was added in it. And I saw all the messages because back in those days, as soon as you're in that group, you see everything. And they quickly removed me, but I could see everything, and I read it all. So, they're going on about me stunting my growth and stuff. I won't name any names, but yeah, the guy who said it, he's about 5'4" now, and I've grown into a 6'2" frame. So yeah, and my squats, pretty good now too. So I think it'll be a bit better than his.
What's your squat
So
at?
I've been sort of repping out 270 at the moment. I haven't really done any singles. I sort of try and get into the singles over the summer and see where I'm at. So I think my best set to date is about 270 for 3. Did a couple of sets of that, and at the RPC. So yeah,
Yeah, I can
Fuck?
back you on that too. He's not like a. You get a lot of rugby players who quarter squat, like sort of like what you do, Dickie. Barely hit. You really struggle to hit that parallel. Joey actually goes after grass. He's a deep squatter. So there's a lot of respect on that squat actually, Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in my craft there. But I mean, it comes with when you do it for as long as I've done, everyone's on their own fitness journey. So regardless of what you're squatting, it's just I'd never want to say, oh, you're only squatting 120 kegs or something. I think that's a bit silly if someone's sort of calling you out. Everyone's working at their own pace.
I 100% agree, Joe. And what's your thoughts on not squatting or not doing legs? What's your thoughts on that?
Anyone can sort of do what they like, but I'd suggest to that person you're missing out.
I was talking more as a collective. I'm sure a lot of people don't like doing leg days, but obviously you live for leg days, and obviously generate a lot of power for you at scrum time. It's obviously needed, and that I was just thinking, some people are built for speed, others are built for power, and usually the two come hand in hand. So I was just wondering, what sort of, you got a bit of toe to you, Joe, or you do do you do any cardio, or do you just sort of just squat?
Well, I'm sort of
go there.
I'm in like a permanent bulk mindset, so like the training we're doing at the moment, like I just shed weight, like it's just bloody melts off me. So I try and get like 6-7 meals in a day, but yeah, my speed is very good over 10 meters, and then see a significant drop off. I think my first year of the academy, I was like second or third in the entire Manawatū system over 10 metres. But, since then I've gained a few pounds, good weight, and I have sort of slipped down the ranks a bit. But, I'm a firm believer that, you look at all the sprinters, they've all got big glutes on, probably do a lot of squatting and have a lot of power generating from their legs.
So you throwing yourself in the conversation of a good sprinter, just putting 2 and 2 together then?
No, mate, no. 10-metre sprint potentially.
10-metre
Maybe
sprint.
we could petition to
stuff.
get that in the Olympics and I'd have a crack at it.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that at all. Okay, so and you, what do you weigh?
So
Joe?
I'm sort of around 120, 126-ish. But on any given day, like I could come in and be a keg light or a keg heavier. Just it can depend on so many things. How much water you've had to drink. All that sort of stuff. So
You
sort of
know how you're saying you try to stick in a bulk mindset at the moment. What sort of calories do you reckon you're eating at the moment?
Oh, I've never really got into the calorie counting, but
you got no idea.
Got no idea, bro. How many calories do you reckon are in like an average meal?
Probably
about 1,200.
Yeah, I would have probably said that you're probably eating around 4,000, I reckon, if not more.
Yeah, or could do. I think in a mammoth, it's how much is in a mammoth? Because I've been smoking those.
Are we talking about?
No. You don't know what mammoth is? Chocolate milk, bro. 45 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Just like a...
You'd know this, Dickie, surely. You love a wee mammoth.
I know the mammoths. We used to get them after... what ones do we used to get from Maristol?
No, you did.
After every game.
No, it was the mammoths, or the protein hits.
Protein hits. It was the protein hits.
Oh, they were good, man. They were good.
Look.
They were good. Yeah, all right. So, Joe, you've been a Turbro now. Is this your third season now? Are you looking to re-sign?
Yeah, so I re-signed last year for 2 more years. So luckily, I've got another year after this one.
Yep. How many games have you won in your as your time in Turbo?
Excuse me. I was looking at this the other day.
No, you're fine.
Cheers, mate. I think I'm running at about... So my first year, we had a pretty good season, but I don't think I was a part of... I won on my debut against Northland. Got 7 minutes.
Jeez, that's good.
7 minutes off the bench?
Off the bench. And then... Northland and Auckland, so 3.
You've won 3 games. You did score. You're fine again, mate. You're fine again. You got a bit of dust in your room, or what? You got a bit of early springtime hay fever coming on, Joey? What's going on in that?
I've got the door closed, so potentially not enough ventilation.
Okay. Yeah, that you would hoover up a bit of oxygen through your sinuses, I can imagine. You've gone to Eden Park, and you recently, obviously, you scored a try in that game, in that monumental effort against beating Auckland, and you guys showed a lot of ticker to actually win that game after that intercept. I thought that would have broken the back of the Turbos there, but you hung in there. How was that feeling, playing up there and winning that game?
It's there's nothing like it, eh? That was pretty awesome. Regarding the try, I wasn't supposed to be at the back of the mall with that ball, so saw the opportunity and took it. They don't really come by too often with the whenever in the front row, unless you're a hooker. So I thought, well, now's my time. Take that pill and get it over the line. I thought, geez, I better get it over here because if we don't, it's not going to look good.
No, it's going to look very bad. And was that your first meat pie as a turbo?
Yeah, so in the NPC it was, but I scored one against Waikato in pre-season. So I'm counting that one because, as I said, they don't really come along too often as a prop.
You went back-to-back games, didn't you? Tries?
Yeah, I did actually. Scored the next week against Tasman, short range.
Or was that pick and go?
Yep, pick and go, mate.
Yeah, classic.
Those big glutes, eh? Can't stop those big 270 kilo squatting glutes 2 meters out from the line. Big Joey Gav, eh? Oof. Did you? And how was that? How was that win against Auckland? It was a midweeker. Did you celebrate it, or did you get back into the grind?
Yeah. So as Keegs would tell you, I'm not really much of a drinker. We did have a good celebration. Obviously, like it was Storm Week, so you're thinking, geez, we've got another game in a few days. So you got to put your body first. But 42 years in between drinks up at Eden Park, it's definitely something to celebrate there. So the boys got together and had a good time, and went to the casino. I was in there with a couple of Canadians. I'm happy to gamble someone else's money, but I'll never gamble my own. So I was just sitting there watching them, and that was entertaining enough for me. It sounds a bit lame, probably is, but
what were you watching?
Blackjack.
Blackjack.
Yeah, so
blackjack.
Yeah, the lads went to the blackjack, and it's pretty volatile. I thought, geez, I worked too hard for my money to be blowing it all.
And did you understand how the game worked? Your math's good enough up to 21 that you could keep up as the cards were rolling out to understand.
Yeah, so I see what you're trying to get at, and I don't really like it. But when I was in college, I was quite obsessed with counting cards, and I would just practice shuffling cards and cutting decks and cheating. So setting up your deck so that you get 2 aces or something, and your mate gets 2 sevens or something in the flop. So I'm real keen on cards. Just never gambled or anything, but I quite like to sort of see what's going on. But casinos are money pits. You walk in with a big fortune and you walk out with a small fortune. So
the house always wins. So you can you still count cards, or can you talk is it hard to do? To take
yeah, because they fire them out so quickly, So the concept is it's pretty simple, but when you're there, that's what I was so interested about. It's these dealers just like bang, 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 bang. So you've got to be really quick, and you've got to have a lot of practice. And then, if you sit down and you are counting cards, and they know you are, because it's not their first rodeo, they sort of just say to you your play is too good for us, and you just get asked to leave pretty much. So it's never really a opportunity to capitalise.
I thought they use automatic shufflers and play with a couple of decks.
I think
try and eliminate that. But how can you get around that?
So I think what they do is they have 4 decks. They've got 4 decks that they're chucking in that automatic shuffler. So I'm not super clued in on it, but there are ways to do it that you can hear.
Okay. So you're a bit of you like to cheat the system. You're almost you like to illegal gamble and count cards. So that's on your side. That's good to know. Okay, talk us through. You play for Freiburg and Palmerston North. Who, as you've said, you've only won 2 games for, and so since you've left high school, just doing the math here, you've won 5 collective games for the Turbos and club. What do you put that down to? Are you the common denominator in that, or is there other factors at play? And talk us through your club, and what you love about your club, because there's obviously not a winning culture there.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, eh? It's been a tough old slog, really. I'd put it down to my teammates. I think they really need to pick it up because it can't possibly be me. I got sent to Freiburg. It probably wasn't my first pick. I played for. I was going to go to varsity.
What was your first pick?
I can see your eyes light up there thinking it might have been Old Boys Maris, but it's just unfortunately not.
No, I just it wasn't lighting up. Well, it would have been. I wouldn't have crossed paths with you anyway. I don't think at that stage, Joe. And I don't think that would have quite worked out with you and Reece Peterson. It might not have played off too well. So probably a good decision to go to Freiburg, I guess, for yourself. Okay, so you're going to go to varsity. Any reasons for that?
Yeah, well, I played for the Massey Rams. Shout out to the Massey Rams. When I was in year 13, because one of the teachers at school was the coach of the Rams, and it was just a great team with lots of great blokes in it. And I was sort of thinking, well, the natural transition, if I'm already with a club, is to just stick with them. So I rang up Scotty Lou over the off season, and I said, "Look, I'm real keen to come to varsity. Do you reckon there's a sort of a spot there for me? I just made the Barbars under 18s." And to his credit, he said it. He was fair, and he said, "Look, mate, you got to earn your spot. We've got a couple of old dogs coming back, so I can't guarantee anything for you." And that didn't put me off, but I sat down with Peter Russell. Shout out to Pete. Pistol Pete. And he sort of said, "Look, we want you to go to Freiburg. We think it's a real good decision to send you there. We're going to send Ben Strang too." I said, "Okay, if Strangy's going, well, I'll go and just hang out with him." Strangy buggered off after 1 year, and I thought, I'll stick it out. So, it's been, the boys are good, eh? The boys are great fellas. It's like, pull your hair out a little bit sometimes, but you got nothing but love for them at the end of the day. It's, it's club footy. You can get, all rolled up, and as I do sometimes, which my track record would show, but it's just,
Joe, just on the fact he said your teammates, you said it was your teammates. Obviously, you were sort of joking around a bit.
Oh, yeah, I was joking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You said you've got 1 more year on your contract with the Turbos. Is there plans after that to potentially push into boxing? I mean, that's just a word around the street that you've sort of alluded to. That's an individual sport. You won't have to rely on other players. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, well, I have spoken to you about it, eh? Like, I'm keen on boxing. Like, I love the sport. The what do they call them? Pugilists. But I've been doing a bit of training with a guy in Pahiatua, Lance Bryant. He was a real gunfighter. He was a pro. He actually fought Israel Adesanya a couple of times, and knocked a lot of guys out. So he was New Zealand cruiserweight champion and Asia Pacific champion, and he's been around, eh? So he knows the game, and I was training with him, and I just fell in love with the training side of it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, no. How do we get this guy out of here, Keegs?
Sorry,
Just
Fine,
let him
please.
carry on with the
Fine,
Dickie.
please.
Jeez.
Sorry, Joe.
No, yeah, so it's definitely like, I love the individual aspect of it. Like, if you're the only one that stuffs up, and if you're going to pay the price for it if you do. So, and in that way, it's very different to rugby, but rugby sort of humbles you quite a bit, I'd say, because you're only as good as your weakest link, I'd say. So it's not all about you. You've got to put other people before yourself in some way. So, they're both great sports.
Who is your weakest link in the Turbos then? If you're only as strong as your weakest link, who would your weakest link
Probably
be?
say Keegan, or I'll throw Flynn Yates into the hat. I think he's a bit of a prick. No, so So I suppose I say everything with a very straight face, and I find it funny to say things with a straight face when I don't mean it, because I just but I was taking the piss. Like, I'm good mates with Yatesy, to an honestly.
No, I definitely understood that there was a piss take there, but I did see that you didn't get a laugh and you panicked a little bit there and sat up in your seat and just trying to explain yourself quite quickly. It's almost the alarm bells were going off, thinking, "Oh heck, Yates is gonna go me here," which I'd love to see. Actually, if you get into your boxing, would you step into the ring first up with Flynn Yates?
I reckon he'd step in with Josh Tuala.
Oh, don't start with that.
Hey, Joe. Joe had a bit of a scuffle with Joshy at training about a month ago. There's a few hooks thrown, actually. There's a few hooks thrown.
Was it? Can you talk us through? I love a bit of fire at training. I think the boys are really into their work and working hard.
Yeah.
But talk us through that.
Probably similar to the situation with Pedo A. We were just going at each other, and I had my non-contact red bib on. I'd had something done to my ribs the week earlier, and still a bit tender. And I was in a ruck, and I just got smoked out of this ruck by Joshy. And I said to him, like, "I'm going to get you." Just fired up in that split second. And he said, "Oh, come on then." So we went, I think we must have gone about 8 phases, and he was standing by the ruck, and I went in there and I pushed him. And then he sort of grabbed hold of me, and as you do, you have a little scuffle. It's just like a rugby sort of fight. But yeah, I sort of lost my cool a bit and took it a step further, and we made up very quickly and had a bit of a dance after training in front of everyone.
Did you throw a couple?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to comment on that.
Don't. Yeah, that's okay. I'm more concerned. Did he get you a couple? I would have loved him to rearrange that nose of yours, but did he not get any?
Might leave that up to Keegs, because I don't want to sit here and say.
I don't think.
What happened?
I don't think Joe wore any shots. No, I don't think.
Oh, okay. That's almost a little bit disappointing.
You would have liked to see that.
Them out.
That's good. That's good to see, though. I like a bit of fire in the belly, and then it's a bit of a thing. It's a bit of a thing in footy. The old dance off after a bit of a row, just in front of the boys. They did it over here actually. Some of the lads had a bit of a row at training, and then they had to do a dance off after it as well to sort of kiss and make up.
Our coach sort of made him do that because he sort of said there was a few boys that jumped in to sort of break up the fight. And he sort of just said, it takes two to tango. You just let them two go at it. They'll sort it out later. So then they had the tango afterwards.
That's good shit. That's good shit.
That's right. Yeah,
shit. I like that.
Just going back to that, I remember young TK Howden came in, bull at a gate, tried cheap shotting me. I think he missed though. He threw in this big blind shot, bro. I saw. I was watching the video because I thought it must have been one of the lads Joshy lives with, backing his mate up. I was like, oh, yeah, that's all good. But it was TK, who's a very close mate of mine. So he saw that opportunity and tried to lay one on me, but yeah, I'm just yeah. No, that was funny, man. No, he missed. Yeah.
That's good stuff. I like that. Keep your friends close and your enemies even closer. Sort of scary.
Maybe I'm not as close to him as I thought.
Maybe not. Maybe. Yeah. Well, hell.
Joey, you're
That's good stuff.
Joey, you're a bit of a golfer, eh? Another footy
okay.
player / golfer, full timer.
Oh, yeah. No,
I
I love it, bro. But I need to do a lot of work on the game if I want to call myself a proper golfer.
What are you playing off these days?
Off about an 18, I think. So shot a hole. I have my days.
Bogey golf, eh?
Yeah, enjoyable. It's enjoyable when you're hitting the ball well, and sort of you think you're going somewhere with it, and then you might have a terrible day, and you think, oh, geez, I've got to rethink everything. But yeah, I think I only really play 9 holes, and I think the best I've gone is 40 over 9 holes at Pahia Tour.
Yeah, good deck out there, eh? Good track out there.
Yeah, I love it, eh? It's a beautiful little country course. I'd rate it over Palmerston North. I'm a member at Manawatū as well. I can't justify saying Pahia Tour is better than Manawatū, but yeah, it's definitely a good course.
Unfactual. Yeah, it is a good course. I see you're actually you're fairly active with your scorecards too.
Yeah, I haven't put one in for a while, but because I've bloody
a couple of weeks. You got a broken hand at the moment. We probably let you off there.
How did that happen, Joe?
Oh, it's just from punching too many people in the face, bro. Nah. So I did it against Hawke's Bay with about 10 minutes to go, and I thought, oh, I've done something in my hand, but in the heat of the moment, I didn't really feel it. So I kept going and then went for the X-ray the next day, and it was broken. I was like, gutted, eh? So I've been in this.
Talk us through, Joe. So you're in a cast. Obviously, it was a clean break. I've heard a lot of talk that you're trying to play next week against Southland. I've heard that you've gone to 4 people asking to cut the cast off. Actually. Yeah.
So I went to about 3 different medical centres after I had this plaster of Paris thing on. This one's a fiberglass one, so it's the full deal. And I said to them, I was, giving a bit of a sob story, saying, look, I live alone, things are just so hard. I can't cook any meals, just to try and get into a brace. But they didn't go for it, and I got slapped, taken out of the plaster of Paris and slapped in this heavy duty one. So they must not have trusted me, which is a bit disappointing.
That is, I like that intent though, Joe.
No,
you live alone,
I don't. It's just a story.
It's just a story, okay.
But yeah, this cast's coming off on Wednesday, regardless of what the medical centre says. And
so you're going to try
to see how it goes, because, I just can't bear it anymore.
But, what's the reason for wanting to play against Southland?
Just, I just want to get back out there, eh? Maybe if Ben Strang plays, get in this year. It's all very well and good to be
true with 2 man there,
chirping from the sideline, but it doesn't really mean a lot. I planned this what I was going to say to him first scrum, so I'd be pretty keen to get out there if he was playing.
What are you going to say to him? Or are you going to just keep that behind closed doors?
Well, would he be watching this? I don't know. I'll just say it. I was going to. Strangy, as you know, Keegs, he's been fighting with the scales. He
really struggles to put weight on.
Yeah, the poor fella just absolutely struggles big time with it. He just eats and eats and eats and never gets anywhere. Even going over to the States, like I said to him, look, get into the Chick-fil-A, get into the big old burgers, get the combo. And he still hasn't. I don't know how he's gone with it. But I had a plan to just say to him, the first scrum, oh, geez, Stringy, you look like you've lost a bit of weight, mate. I've been told that a couple of times, and it's just done my head in. So poor Stringy, he takes things to heart a little bit. He'd probably, I don't know how well he'd go on it.
Just
might
rattle
sort of,
him a wee bit, eh?
yeah, just rattle him ever so slightly.
Yeah, I like that.
Because, you just know how hard he works. And
yeah, he has a real tough time of it, doesn't he? I've never really met anyone that struggled so much to put on weight.
Yeah. Well, like, he's pretty keen on, I just remember he was just going hard on this shred for R&V one year, which might have sort of, he's been stuck in that R&V shred since then.
Joe, I'd just like to say you've kept receipts of me talking about you in the first episode of this podcast, yet you don't have any issues slagging off other people once you are on the show. It seems to be a little bit hypocritical, I must say. But with that said, I'd like to know a little bit more about your personal life, Joe. What do you get up to outside of footy? And what are you you do any TV shows? You play Monopoly. What do you get up to?
What do I do? Well, I've got a beautiful girlfriend that I'm coming up to being with for 2 years, so she's been a big help. She's always in my corner.
You looking to propose soon?
No.
Or not? No. Okay, straight to it. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
Yeah. Give it a few more years.
Alrighty then.
And, well, yeah, before I was in this cast, I was keen on the golf and obviously a bit of boxing training. As far as TV shows go, I just watched what is it called? It's not Keeping Up with the Furies. It's At Home with the Furies. It's about Tyson Fury.
Good. That's good,
bro. It's real good.
I agree. Great series.
But I got 2 episodes
That
into
bit
it.
of inspiration there, Joe.
Oh, bro, yeah, he's a big inspiration for me. Like, I've read it. I've got all his books, and I've read his books, and I think he's a good fella. But watching his series, Yatesy and I were watching it, not together, obviously. He was watching it at home, and I was watching it at home, and he came in. He sort of said to me, "Oh, yeah, I can see a lot of him in you. Like, he was just a bit of a nutcase." Which is sort of oh well, okay. But I guess that being compared to Tyson Fury in any sort of way is potentially good. Maybe not. Because, yeah, it's a pretty out of it show, eh? Like,
it's a good show. What about, would you be keen on At Home with the Gavigans? If we got one of those started? Or how do you think? I could imagine it'd be quite an interesting series, just knowing you and having this conversation with you. 6 to 7 meals a day would be most of the show, I imagine.
I was just thinking about that. Eh? Like,
do you just have? Is it just fish and rice cakes? Is that what you have to eat most of the time? And then more fish, and then a rice cake, or how do you run that sort of diet?
Yeah, the whole show would be me just cooking, I think. No.
Do you rate yourself in the kitchen?
I do rate myself in the kitchen. I've sent out a couple of messages to the lads saying, like, one time I defrosted too much meat, and I was like, lads, come over to dinner if you want. And I made a beautiful little Japanese curry with sausages in it, home-killed sausages, and had some chops on the side that I sort of do. I bake my chops, actually, so I chuck a bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, chuck them in the oven, turn them over, and it just gets that fat lovely. And it's beautiful, man. It's crispy. And then you sort of dip them in the fat that's left over. It's still hot. It's on the sort of baking dish, and double dip them.
Who came over for dinner that night? Did you didn't actually? You said you put the invite out, but didn't actually say.
No one came.
Did people come around, or no one came?
Short notice, I suppose, Joe.
Yeah, it hurt my feelings a little bit. But you can't control what other people do. So if they don't want to come around for dinner after you've cooked a big feed, then you know who your friends are, I guess. So
And obviously you've got
Yeah.
none, so pretty easy to decipher. Okay. Should we probe Joe with a few questions, Key, see what he's about? I've got one off the top of my head just to start it off, Joe. Was the moon landing real or fake, in your opinion?
Here's the deal, eh? So Russia and the US, they had a full-on space race, correct? So they're competing to get to the moon.
Correct, they did.
Like, I can see how the US could fake it. Potentially if you launch a space shuttle, no one knows where it's going. The average person has no idea where it's going. So, you could launch it and then just bloody stay up there for however long and then come back and, I can see, and the costs, the cost of actually going to the moon compared to just staging the moon landing, I mean, I could see how they could fake it. So,
and they did go in the 1960s, about 1969 they've landed on the moon, but they haven't been back since.
Like 1969, I mean, people are still getting over 60s, getting over segregation and all that sort of stuff, and they're talking about landing on the moon. Are you kidding? No, you just saying that.
With that in mind, are you saying is it fake? Was the moon landing fake?
No, I think it's fake, Yeah. I think just the pressure from Russia.
You're a fake guy, okay.
Has just led to this staging. I think it's fake, bro.
Okay. I just had to clarify that. It'd be good to. It's good to know what you're about. Keegan, you've got any for him? I've got a couple more that I'll just pop off, but if you want to go for one,
yeah, I'll just stick with our probably original list. Fish tacos or no tacos, Joseph?
No tacos, bro. No tacos, man.
No tacos.
Fair enough.
Would you consider yourself a selfish lover?
I just think when I think of tacos, bro, I think of those terrible taco kits that are just the stand-up, crunchy shells.
Well, why don't we just make it a
soft shell? I can keep behind.
Do that big ad, Arriba.
Don't even do that again, Dickie.
We have to cut that bit out.
Okay, so he's a no taco kind of guy. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. What else have we got? Oh, we usually do shell or grower, but if you're squatting 270 kilo, you've probably used a few substances, and there's probably been a little bit of shrinkage. So I'm leaning towards you being a grower, but if you could confirm.
Confirm on the substances or confirm on the shower or grower?
On both, probably on both.
Yeah, so
good.
I actually had my first drug test after the Canterbury game, and it was.
Did you have it in game?
No, I didn't. I just think they picked random people. So
was that Canterbury this year?
Yeah, I was hoping it was because I had a good game, but I think they just picked randoms because.
How was it? Must have been pretty uncomfortable, eh?
Yeah, it was a little bit. It rattled me a little bit, eh? Because they put you through they grill you and say what supplements you've been taking, and you're in there for half an hour talking to them, and then you you have to pee in a cup in front of someone, but didn't sort of
stage fright
too much. Nah, it was just the only thing that I was like. Once I got going, bro, it's hard to shut the valve off, eh? I was thinking, geez, what happens if this cup overflows or something, and we're in trouble here, But managed to shut the valve off and go through the process, and I believe so if you do test positive for a banned substance, you'll be notified within a couple of weeks, and I haven't been notified, so I'd say it's a pass. You can always chase it up, but yeah, no, I was pretty happy with that result because they do. They do rattle you a bit, eh? They sort of you feel a little bit sort of exposed, and
Is it pre or post shower
No,
that
so-
happens? Like, is it straight as
Yeah,
soon as
so
you
they'll
off the
come up
field?
to you. Like I was still on the field yarning to a couple of the Canterbury lads.
Did you think you're getting this, like you're about to sign someone's jersey or something, and then it's no? Come
Yeah,
away with
well,
us?
the guy came up and he had a Crusaders lanyard and he's like, "Oh, you're number one, eh?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, jeez, get down to the Crusaders." But no, he said, "Oh, you've got to stay with me, mate. Like, it's real, full on. If he loses sight of you, you're in big trouble, So you've got to stay with him. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you get banned if he loses sight of you, or there are some serious repercussions. So you got to stay with him until you've done everything, and then once you've done it, you're free to go.
Congratulations on that.
I'll go to the next one. Palmy Boys or Fielding High School?
Fielding. I just don't like Palmy Boys. That being said,
fair thinking. Neither do I.
That being said, bro, like I don't really like Fielding either. Like we lost. Look, it's just not a great question, is it?
Bit of scar tissue there by the sounds. Of things there, Joe. But we won't get into it. I can see you getting quite emotional, so we'll just leave it there. Keegan Christian Goss or Jason Emery?
Keegs.
Choose wisely, Joe.
Go for Keegs.
Man.
I play golf with Keegs, right? Keegs is always keen on a round of golf, and those, Jason, Braden, Brett Cameron. I'll message them, say, mate, you want to come for a game of golf or something? Never hear back from them. Just stopped asking at this point. They're just it's a bit disrespectful, eh? Like you sort of think they're your mates, like be all nice to your face, and then sort of seems as if they just don't want to know you. So, Keegs is always there when you want to go for a game of golf.
Thanks, bro. Okay. I'll take that. Golf or boxing?
Oh, that's a good one. Jeez. So, to play or to watch, associate with?
I'd say
you don't play.
Or you compete. Let's say competing in golf or boxing. What would you rather?
I'd probably rather be a boxer, a pro boxer. Like if you said be the best golfer in the world or the best boxer in the world, I'd probably choose a boxer. Yeah. My grandfather, he was a boxer, and his father before him. My dad wasn't a boxer, but he's always been real keen on it. So, yeah, to be a world champion in boxing is it's a pretty awesome thing. Golf, it's more of a recreational. You can sort of enjoy it a bit more, and you can't really, you're either all or nothing in boxing. You can't just sort of passively enjoy boxing or passively enjoy a fight. And I don't know how you'd go if you're just sort of in there to enjoy
probably
it.
Get knocked the fuck out, I'd say.
Yeah, probably get cleaned up pretty quickly.
Yeah, probably. Think you want to finish us off? I reckon.
Okay.
One more.
Have we got? Oh yeah, okay. I was just trying to think of a couple in my head. I just really enjoyed Joe's in-depth analysis of the mainland before. What else? I'm just trying to think of another monumental. Titanic inside job or not?
There's not. Actually, you've just sort of see what I heard from the Titanic is I just don't. There were a few guys who were pretty wealthy on that ship, who were competitors.
There's quite a few.
There's some sort of theory about it that there were guys on the ship that were competitors to some other geezer or something, and these people dying would have just left a big, gap in some market for some guy to make a lot of money. But I just can't see that that's the reason you'd crash into an iceberg and 1,500 people would die. I think it's just.
Mm.
I reckon it's just. Well, Titanic was supposed to be unsinkable, and I reckon it's just God or whoever's out there leveling human beings. I think just saying, "Hey, hang on."
Okay, so it was.
No, I
So
don't
it
think
wasn't
it's
an
an
inside job. The
job.
Titanic for you. It was. Okay. Okay, that's good to
Actually,
know.
I've got another. I've just seen a wee trend on TikTok lately. Joe, do you often think about, I don't know, I just feel like this could relate to you. Do you often think about the Roman Empire?
Yeah, so I've seen this trend. I've sort of got past it. Like I sort of do. The Roman Empire is quite an interesting time period, but I've actually been more interested in Napoleon as of late. I'm getting a lot of Napoleon TikToks, and I've been sort of, because we've been doing quiz nights down at the Cobb for the Turbos, I've been sort of going down a few rabbit holes on battles and things. And he's an interesting guy, man. You know, great tactician, and it was pretty touch and go at the Battle of Waterloo. You know, what was it? There was just the French versus pretty much everyone else, and they were going all right. So things could have really changed if they won that battle. Changed the whole scope of the world. Yeah, I think the Romans, they just, what happened? They sacked Rome. Was it the Gauls that sacked Rome? Can anyone confirm that?
Well, it was sort of internal sort of combustion. They all got a bit too relaxed, and people stopped signing up for the legions and the army and stuff, and then their defences weren't up to scratch, and they got I'm not too sure, but it's an interesting one, Joe.
Look, I think they thought it was all wrapped up, eh? The games, like they had such a large amount of land. You know, when you get that, when an empire's that big, like it's hard to sort of really continue to dominate what you're occupying. So I can see how it did fail in the end, but they had a good run. It's a shame that a lot of the history was lost. I mean, they were very innovative, and the Roman aqueducts and things are bloody well ahead of their time. So we sort of regressed a little bit after they finished up, I guess.
You're a bit like a sparkler, aren't you? You just sort of light you, and you'll just go off, don't you? You know, you'll just start going on tangents and stuff. You're quite a knowledgeable guy by the sound of things. I don't know if it's a front you're just putting on to the people or not, or whether there's actually a bit of brain power in that large noggin of yours. But it was very insightful, Joe. And with that in mind, I think we might wrap it up here potentially. And appreciate you coming on. Obviously, it takes a bit of time out of your day to. I'm sure you've got to cook your night meal of the day or something that you've put to the side while you've come on here for a quick yarn. And I wish you all the best in your boxing career. I hope your head gets taken clean off round one, first fight. I'll put the feelers out to Reece Peterson, see if he'd be open for the first bout. And I wish you all the luck with you getting your cast off and potentially playing this week. And appreciate your time, Joe. So thanks for coming on, pal. Look forward to next time if there's one.
Oh yeah, cheers, fellas. Hopefully, I haven't offended too many people. It's probably going to be a bit of editing for you guys to do. But no, it's been great to chew the fat. Go and see what's happening for supper, eh?
Perfect. Cheers, Joey.
Cheers.
See you, mate.
See you later.
Legend.
Thanks, Joseph.